Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see you. Cabinet just completed its weekly meeting, and we reviewed a range of issues as we do each week, but we were focusing mostly this week on ensuring that the progress that we've made in British Columbia, based on the hard work of British Columbians to flatten the curve, can continue. Dr. Henry made a presentation with public health officials and Minister Dix about the state of play with respect to our acute care system, with respect to the number of hospitalizations, and where we're going when it comes to taking on the challenge of COVID-19. We also took a look at a whole range of other issues, which we have been doing since the beginning. We've adopted a cross-government approach to addressing COVID-19, leading every day with a focus on people having a good understanding of the health situation. Dr. Henry and Minister Dix have done an exemplary job of that, and they'll continue to do so. But cross-government, we have a bigger responsibility to provide confidence to British Columbians that the economy will be coming back to something resembling normal in the very near term. Many other provinces have announced plans, and we will be certainly doing that as well next week, and I'll do some foreshadowing of that today. But the first order of business in Cabinet today was reestablishing the state of emergency for another 2 weeks. I know that everyone's looking forward to resuming normal activities, spending more time with loved ones who have been separated over the past number of weeks, and we want to see that as well. But it's going to take resolute action by all of us to ensure that we continue to make progress rather than give up the progress that has been so hard fought for over the past month and a half. So what will the new normal look like? It'll be guided, of course, by the science and the work of public health officials. And it will be a phased-in approach, as other provinces are doing. But it'll be different in British Columbia because, unlike other provinces, we resisted the call for a full lockdown of our economy and instead adopted a different approach. The approach in British Columbia was to focus on how could we keep sectors operating safely rather than shutting them down until such time as we could open them up again. Good example just this week was the tree planting season is upon us. We're going to have silviculture activity across British Columbia, critically important to our forest sector, critically important to our forests that we start replanting in this critical time in the year. So we put in place plans to have a safe operation of the tree planting season. In agriculture, we put in place safe operating procedures for those temporary foreign workers that are coming to help get our farming sector going, and also other practices to make sure that our food supply is safe. We've had a number of incidents where food processing plants have been hit by COVID-19. Now, I appreciate that the vast majority, in fact, all of those plants are federally regulated. The federal inspection agencies that take care of the safety of our food supply when it comes to meat has been the center point of that activity. We've been working cooperatively with the federal government to protect that food supply, and I want to encourage all British Columbians and assure them that we are doing what we can to make sure that there's cooperation with everyone concerned to protect our food supply. But it's not just farming, it's not just silviculture and tree planting. In the construction sector, this week Quebec announced that they were going to reopen their construction sector in the middle of May. We never shut down our construction sector, and that was a calculated choice that we made based on the work of WorkSafe and the Public Health Office to put in place guidelines for the safe operation of construction sites. So although we haven't had 100% participation within the construction sector, many activities have continued as before in a safe manner. We expect that to continue as well. So as we open up sectors, we're also asking people to come up with their ideas of how they can best operate. And I want to, again, as I did last week, give credit to the restaurant sector who are putting in place plans so they can operate safely. It's not just going to be the flick of a switch, as I said last week, and I'm saying again today. The consuming public has to be comfortable and confident when they go into a restaurant that they are going to be safe. Similarly, workers in that sector need that confidence as well. And the only way we build that confidence is to have a set of common protocols, common guidelines in place to protect workers, in place to protect consumers. We've seen this in the grocery sector and other retail operations where procedures and protocols and guidelines have been put in place to protect workers, of course, but also to protect the consuming public. That will not change as we outline our plans next week. In fact, that will be the foundation of the plan. How can you operate safely? How can we ensure that there are processes and guidelines in place so the public has confidence that they can once again get back to a regular schedule of consumption, whether that's to be buying goods and services, whether it's to spend more time on the leisure activities that are so important to all of us. In order for that to happen, we need to have a plan, and we need to have full buy-in from all British Columbians. So rather than go headlong into a let's start up again tomorrow, we're focusing instead on a slow, methodical, phased-in approach. Yesterday, Minister Fleming talked about the education sector and how we're going to keep our K-12 system operating in the interests of kids, in the interests of teachers, as well as the parents and families that depend on that system so that they can go to work. As more people go to work, the need to ensure that children are safe is going to increase. That means childcare will become more focused. That means K-12 will become more focused, but it will be done in a different way. We don't anticipate a regular return to education as we know it until into September. But we do expect a gradual increase in the number of students in classrooms, and we're working with all of the stakeholders, whether they be support staff, teachers, administrators, trustees, to make that happen. Always focusing on what's in the best interest of British Columbians, as you would expect us to do and as we are committed to doing. There's a whole host of other issues. I know there'll be many questions, but I wanted to just say finally that British Columbians have made great progress. We are the envy of the country. I'm involved in conference calls with other premiers and the Prime Minister on a regular basis, and every single call focuses on how well we are doing here in British Columbia. And they say, well done, John, and I say, no, it's not about me, it's about the people of BC who put the interests of all of us ahead of their personal interests. By staying home, by not coming to work when you're sick. No more of this heroic, I've got a bit of a sniffle, but I'll make it through. That cannot be the way we proceed in the future. Critical to our success will be everybody understanding that if you are not well, you should not go to the workplace. And we need to make sure as a society we're putting in place protections for those workers so they don't feel an economic imperative to go into the workplace. Instead, they feel that they're doing their part to get us out of the COVID-19 pandemic by staying home, by making sure they check their symptoms and they consult healthcare professionals in the interest of not just themselves, but their workplace and their broader community. Those are the tasks ahead of us. They're daunting, but we've made great progress to this point in time, and I have every confidence that we'll be continuing to have that success as we reopen our economy starting next week.